You Were Never Really Here by Lynn Ramsey, starring Joaquin Phoenix. Joaquin Phoenix. You Were Never Really Here, directed by Lynn Ramsey, follows Joe, a retired veteran turned hitman with PTSD and a history of childhood abuse. He has a reputation for brutality, or at least being as brutal as people want him to be, and it is that reputation that sees him offered a job to save the daughter of a senator from a child prostitution ring. While Joe suffers with his inner demons, it is made apparent that there is more than meets the eye to this job. If I was to describe this film in one word, it would be tranquility. The whole tone of this violent hitman film is tranquil, and it's all the more memorable and clearly defined for it. There's minimal dialogue throughout, and the film is told masterfully through visual storytelling and cinematography. The backstory for Joe the Hitman, played by the wonderfully vulnerable Joaquin Phoenix, incidentally one of the most vulnerable performances I can remember seeing from Mr. Phoenix, is revealed through highly edited quick flashbacks that give only snapshot views of what made the man. I found this a highly effective way of telling the story of abuse through the eyes of a sufferer of PTSD or just abuse in general. One of the ways Lynn Ramsey describes the character Joe, the hitman, is that he's a man with broken glass in his head. And this is portrayed brilliantly through the flashbacks. Another interesting choice is the way violence is shown. There's a great distance between the viewer and violence sometimes, and it's seen through security cameras and sometimes it's off screen, and that violence mirrors Joe's experience of it. It's almost as if he's watching himself do these things with the same lack of emotion as the visual storytelling gives the viewer. It's perfectly in tone with the film and Joe's broken psyche. Throughout the film, it's visually implied that Joe is thinking about killing himself, and he's reached the end of his tether. He's a man haunted by past abuses and witnessing the death of others in almost every waking moment. There's a sense this bear-like man is very badly wounded psychologically speaking throughout the film, and that he is living out the cycles of abuse that were inflicted upon him from childhood. Within those abuses and themes, it's inescapable not to see the failure of the older generations to protect the young, either through the older generations abusing the young, or the failure of the older generations to stop their peers abusing the young. There's a very strong theme of a cycle of violence throughout. There's a lot here that reminds one of Taxi Driver, unavoidably so, because of the wounded psyche parallels, the saving a little girl from a prostitution ring, the way on some level it represents the saving of the guy's soul as well through saving the little girl and like saving his will to live. Both De Niro and Phoenix want to save the little girls so they don't go through anything close to the amount of psychological damage that's happened to them. Though while De Niro's performances, there's a pressurized, wrathful disgust behind it. In the case of Phoenix, there's a pressure of self-harm and melancholy. The sound design as well is evocative of Taxi Driver, and that creates tension and grates on the ears the same way you imagine Joe to be experiencing the world, as if everything is too bright or too loud. Johnny Greenwood outdoes himself again with this, and it also brings to mind his soundtrack in There Will Be Blood for the equally psychologically broken man Daniel Plainview, the main character of that film. There's a heavy feeling throughout the film, as if you're inhabiting the mind of this scarred hitman, and that's the focus of the film, the man, rather than the plot. It's a character study and experience comparable to Taxi Driver in quality and content. That's the best compliment I can give it, although it doesn't quite reach the same highs as Taxi Driver. I'll say a small nitpick of mine is that I wish it was longer, but as the best of the best always say, leave them wanting more. And I'm definitely going to check out more Lynn Ramsey films because of this film. I thought it was great. So to summarize, it's a thoughtful take on the emotional and psychological implications of being a hitman and why someone would take up that profession. Really great film, everyone should check it out. I'd probably give it an 8 out of 10, 4 out of 5. So Thanks for watching, and have a good day.